This is Blue, a 17-year-old Andalusian Gelding. If you paid enough attention to the intros of my videos and my homepage, you maybe recognize him as that beautiful white unicorn-like horse. He's a very healthy 17-year-old and is with his current owners since he's 3 years old. He's the first horse that got vacuumed before I worked on them, so that was a welcoming treat, not just for me, also for him. He obviously really likes that vacuum. Last week, Blue suddenly had a swelling on his left hock. The anterior part of it was hot and swollen, and it was his first injury ever. After ice didn't really help with the swelling, Stephanie called the vet, and after a flexion test, which did not really show a lot of lameness, Blue received some non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, and when I came to see him, he was on his last dose. In the meantime, the swelling went down quite a bit, and when I did my assessment, it was obvious that he loved to position his hind legs in external rotation. Blue often places his hind legs in almost a line. He puts them in midline behind each other. We repositioned him a couple times, and that was definitely his preferred position. Since nobody has seen when the injury happened, we assume that he maybe tripped over when he was out in pasture at night, which has a part that's quite steep. So Stephanie closed off that section of the pasture for the night turnout. Stephanie normally works with Blue on a daily basis. She does mostly groundwork and liberty, but also rides with him classical dressage. When you watch them interact with each other, you can see that Blue is a very aware and sensitive horse. He is still very limber for 17 and moves very elegantly. The subtle movement training with positive reinforcement seems to be fun for him, and he offers all kinds of tricks and is very alive and aware. It's very beautiful to watch how the right training can teach a horse to carry themselves in a naturally curved posture with a healthy bend in the top line. Blue's movements are very smooth and beautiful. I don't see any signs of pain or lameness. I start my session by tuning into the fascial system of Blue and sense and feel the tension taking me into the body from his head, and did not go to the hind end as you would expect from an injury. It pulled me into his forelegs and into the sternum with the pectoral fascia. I first do a sensitivity check along his spine and look for reaction signs or pain along his spinal cord, and I stroke over the organs and see if I get any reaction from him. He does not really react much until I got to the lumbar spine. When the body fights an infection, he releases chemicals that cause the blood vessels to widen, so they become more permeable, and that increases also the blood flow and brings more immune cells to the affected area. Then they can clean up invaders and damaged tissues. So blood flow is very crucial for the healing, and also the lymph system, which transport away the excess fluid and debris from the site of injury, is important. Since my first listening took me to the thoracic outlet, I explore what's happening in between my hands. I listen to the organs below the sternum, to the heart, to the lungs, and try to get a sense what's going on within the organ system. That local listening at the sternum pulled me deeper into the horse's body, and I ended up on the level of the heart and listened to the motility or the movement the heart has inside of the horse's body. After releasing the tension in the heart and its ligaments, I re-evaluate the thoracic outlet, and he clearly released a little better. The listening pulled me inferiorly towards the diaphragm, and I released both attachments of the diaphragm, the front of the chest and at the end of the thoracic vertebra, at the end of the rib cage. The diaphragm is a very important transverse structure which is crucial for the communication between the front and the back side of the horse. The lymph system is supposed to drain all the garbage of the inflammation sites in the hind end of the horse into the chest, where it gets reabsorbed into the bloodstream. So I put my focus on the veins, where they split up into both legs and allow the body to drain the old blood and bring it back towards the front of the body. I support the drainage from the leg up into the lower back. And listen to the tension in the pelvic fascia and try to evaluate how much involvement of organs we have happening. I assessed his joint and the hock, and I realized that swelling is just superficially in front of it. It doesn't really affect its mobility. But what we realized is that he's very tight in these hind legs. He does not really let me stretch both sides. So that's definitely an important stretch Stephanie could do with her horse. It's always very important to recheck that listening and see if something changed. Always definitely licking and chewing and still releasing when I just tune into that thoracic outlet and diaphragm. The listening guided me back up into the membranes of his head, and I used the ears to release his tentorium. Since I released the front end of the spinal cord, I also wanted to recheck the back side of it, the end towards the tail, and I realized that Blue is not really free with his tail and clamps it really hard down in between his hind legs. So I started doing slight circles and mobilizations to get some freedom and ease into that part of his body. I showed Stephanie how to release the tail and how to create more mobility into the sacrum and the coccyx, and we ended the session with a gentle spinal stretch from the tail.